Hi, and welcome back to Wire with Nolin RECC. I'm Sarah Fellows, Communications Manager, and with me today I have our brand new attorney. This is Mike Pike. Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah, for having me.
So I'm excited to get to talk to you. My last interview was with John, of course, our retiring attorney, and he's been in that position for a really long time. So it's, of course, it's bittersweet to say goodbye to him, but certainly really excited to say hello to you. So we appreciate you just sitting down with me to tell us a little bit more about yourself. So that's why we're here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So just give me some of your history. Where are you from? Talk about your family.
I was born in Louisville, and that's where I was raised. Went to school there, high school, went to college at U of L. Worked for a while after college, and then decided to go to law school. So I had a little bit of life experience already before I went to law school. I was married and had one child, and then we had our second child while I was in law school. So,
wow.
So that was interesting.
I bet that was.
The grades weren't all that great that semester, I can tell you, when the baby came, but the second baby. I had worked for my father-in-law in a family business prior to going to law school, so I had some business experience as well as some life experience. Graduated from U of L Law School. I started out in the night school there and worked full-time, and that was a good experience. It was difficult, but it was a good experience. After law school, decided I didn't want to practice in Jefferson County particularly, so we moved to Brandenburg in Meade County.
Okay.
And that's where my father is from. He's from Meade County.
Okay.
And my mother is originally from Louisville, but she moved to Meade County, she and her family, when she was in 5th grade. And that's where she and my dad met. They were school sweethearts.
Oh.
They graduated school and got married, and I was born in Louisville. That's where we lived, and that's where I grew up. So I've kind of gone full circle. Mm-hmm. Went to Meade County for a couple of years. Then practiced law in Radcliffe at Skeeters, Bennett and Wilson, and made partner there pretty quickly, and was there a total of 18 years and enjoyed it, but decided I would like to have my own firm. And so that's what I did. And in 2017, I left and started my own firm. And I've been there in E-Town since 5.5 years now. Wow. I've been practicing law. It'll be 25 years in this October. Right. So about literally half as much as John Scott.
We really can't compare anything to his time served. He had 50 years this year.
Yes, crazy. It's remarkable,
yeah.
and
he doesn't look nearly old enough to be able to have done that.
Not anywhere near old enough. But John is a great person. He's a fantastic lawyer. He's very well respected in the legal community, and he's also very well liked. You know, he's a very likable person. Yes. And sometimes lawyers, quite frankly, are not very likable. Honestly, you know. And but John is, and like I said, very well respected. Of course, he's been the attorney for the cooperative since 1981, thereabouts. 42 years. Yeah. So this position as attorney apparently only comes open every 40 years or so.
Right.
You know.
Right. In the cooperative world, you're new for the first 25 years. You're in the cooperative.
You're a baby. Yeah.
That's right.
So
did you know John? I mean, did you know him before?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And the type of law that John has practiced, he didn't do much in the way of litigation. I really didn't either. But we certainly would see each other at court, and once in a while our clients would cross paths. Every once in a while my city attorney work and his Nolin work would cross paths, but it was always transactional and, you know, non-adversarial, very pleasant, very professional.
So you mentioned city attorney. So what kinds of positions then have you held?
I've been the Radcliffe city attorney here in Hardin County since about 2003, roughly. Okay.
Are you still in that position?
Yes, okay. Still am.
Okay.
And I've been the Vine Grove city attorney since about 2001. And I've also done work for the city of Muldraugh for many, many years.
Wow, okay.
Their situation is a little different. I'm not as involved in terms of attending council meetings and that sort of thing, but Radcliffe and Vine Grove have been doing that for a long time. The city council work, advising the mayor and department heads, police chief, fire chiefs, city council, planning and zoning, it's been a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
So primarily then, what kind of law do you practice? I mean, what is that? What kind of area does that involve?
You know, similar to John, I do a lot of estate planning and probate work. I really enjoy that. I do some business formation and business contract work. I do a little bit of personal injury for injured folks, just a little bit, and my city work. And then I've got just a little bit of miscellaneous real estate, which, you know, you do a lot of that in estate work, transactions and that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's the vast majority of my practice.
Okay, so you've got a lot of different kinds of experiences, it sounds like.
Apparently I do, yeah.
So we're adding the cooperative world on top of that. And I want to talk about that in a second, but I don't want to lose a thought. So you have Meade County roots. Now, obviously, you know, cooperatives came out of the rural area, and so, you know, you're born in Louisville. There are parts of Louisville certainly that feel rural, but I don't know what part you were from. But having roots in Meade County certainly kind of digs you into that rural area. Do you have a lot of family roots there? I mean, I know you said
lots.
You had some, yeah.
Yes, lots. My dad's mother and father were both from that area, from Meade County. So I've got family members who are farmers and who certainly live in rural areas. So electricity is important to those folks, and the demand is not decreasing. It certainly is increasing all across the area and the region and the state and our country. So, so very important. And you know, it seems unbelievable, Sarah, that previous generations grew up without electricity.
I know.
And that you speak to a lot of older folks, and they remember when the lights came on, you know, when their homes were wired for electricity.
That's right.
We just take that for granted now. You're in my generation, I think, and certainly my children's generation takes it for granted that the computer should work, and the TV and the phone and the light switch, it should work, right?
Right. And if it doesn't, it needs to work the next second.
It needs to work very quickly.
Exactly.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah. So yes, I very much understand that.
Yeah. Well, and you know our service area. I mean, we have a mix of members who are, you know, in city areas, Radcliffe and E-Town, but of course we have a lot of people in the rural area. I was interviewed Buddy, who obviously is also retiring, and he was talking about, you know, them running lines out that way and, you know, going up over Blue Ball Hill and that kind of thing. It's just, and that hasn't been that long ago. That's what's so crazy about that, that the generations have changed so swiftly in the last few years. So,
very much so.
Yeah. Well, so that's kind of part of the cooperative story. So what about cooperatives really interests you? I mean, obviously you had to apply for this. You know, you had to want to do this. What about this really interests you?
The first thing is that certainly Nolin is highly respected as a rural electric cooperative, and they have an excellent reputation here in this region and throughout the state and actually the country. But also very important for me was John Scott reached out to me and told me he was going to retire. He actually invited me to apply if I was interested. And I took that as a high compliment. And I think John and I have some similarities in temperament and outlook. And also he knows that I've done city work for many years. That's a demanding position. It can be at times.
Sure.
And certainly Nolin's work can be demanding also, but it's a different type of environment. With cities, you have policy issues. Sometimes you have political issues that can cause complications.
Sure.
With the cooperative model, especially here at Nolin, it's a different dynamic with the board. It's really a sense of everyone pulling the rope the same way, so to speak. I've been very impressed so far by the knowledge of the board, and obviously Greg as CEO.
Right.
The education that's required, the training, the exposure to information and you know, policy issues so that the board and staff keep informed. But also that the directors here on the board, they really take their job seriously.
They do.
And they must enjoy it because, you know, Miss Grimes, Linda Grimes, she's, I guess, the baby of the bunch.
Right.
And she's been here 13 or 14
right,
years.
Exactly.
And
Again.
Yeah, she's a newbie. And of course, Mr. Rosenberger, over 40 years.
Yeah.
And, but they're engaged. They've been very welcoming to me, particularly Mr. Brown, the chairman, has been very welcoming to me, and all the board members have been. So it's an electric cooperative, but that word cooperative actually also describes really the attitude, I think, of the board. They've been very welcoming to me, and it's a different spirit. And that's not to criticize city work, or but they are different animals.
They are, and I recognize I've only worked here since 2018, and it really is a different world. And until you get into it, it's hard to kind of explain. And
I will tell you that John told me personally that Nolin has been a wonderful client for him. He's really enjoyed the work, and he's really enjoyed the relationships, and I know he has.
Yeah.
Just speaking to him, off the record privately, he's been very complimentary, and I know he knows it's time for him. It's a good time for him to retire.
Oh yeah. And he's got a great retirement plan.
Yeah. But he's going to miss it.
Yeah.
And Nolin's going to miss him.
Oh,
and I will.
For sure.
I'm not able to replace John.
Right.
My hope is to come in and do the best job that I can, and make Nolin happy and proud. So.
Well, I have full confidence that that's going to be the case.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting what your experience with the city work, and of course what our role in the community, and knowing the growth that's happening in this area. I feel like it's just a really fortuitous combination for the cooperative, for our members, to be able to benefit from your shared experience across there, because I mean, we all know that, the explosion of growth that's happening over the next few years. I think having that kind of joint knowledge of how a city works, how that kind of all works, plus how cooperative works, is really going to help Nolin to just be even more important part of that.
Thank you. I agree. And also, just like the board, life experience is important. Hopefully you're smarter and wiser in your 50s than you were in your 20s and 30s.
Right.
At least that's the hope anyway.
Right. Not that you know it in your 20s
Not that you
and 30s.
know, right, exactly. But, I think those of us who are reaching that age or in that age can probably, for the most part, agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. We've got some challenging times ahead. Governmental regulation.
Right.
Market forces, the political landscape in Washington and in Frankfurt,
right.
All those things impact what happens on, in this boardroom for this cooperative, and it affects folks when they open their bill every month.
That's right.
To pay their electric bill. So it's important, and I know here the folks are looking forward to those challenges. It's never boring.
No. That is true.
Here, and same thing with city. So there's a lot of overlap there. There's certainly some routine items, but there's enough shock and awe to keep it interesting. So.
Yeah, you're not going to get bored, are you?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Well, we kind of skipped, and we'll wrap up here in a minute. We kind of skipped over your family part, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about them, because Nolin really is a family. It sounds super cheesy to say that out loud, but it really is. I mean, we care about each other's families, and like you said, it's a different kind of place to be.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your family.
I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I have a brother and 3 sisters, and there's only 5.5 years total between me and the baby.
Oh, wow.
So my dad wanted to have a baseball team. He wanted to have 9, and my mom said basketball's enough, so stopped at 5. My wife and I have been married. It'll be almost, it'll be 31 years next week. We have 3. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. We have 3 children, all in their 20s. They're all out of college.
Great. Mine's just going in. I don't know what I'm going to do.
debt-free, no student loans, so praise Jesus for that. But they're doing well. My son works at the Hardin Circuit Clerk's office.
Okay.
He's a deputy clerk. My daughter is, middle daughter is, she is basically a contractor for the Santa Fe photographic workshops in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, and she does marketing for them and some similar activities. And then my youngest, she is an ultrasound tech. She's a medical sonographer. And she works in Glasgow at T.J. Sampson Hospital, and then also works up here at EDI in Elizabethtown. So
you have a couple close by, and then
everybody's fairly close by. Yeah. So they all live either in Vine Grove or in Elizabethtown.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we're excited to have you. And I guess kind of the last question as we wrap up, and I think you've spoken a little to this, but what do you hope for in your time here? What are you hoping to do as you serve, Nolin members and the whole cooperative? What do you hope as you move forward?
I want to be an attorney who not only gives excellent legal advice, but also someone who will fit in with this Nolin family. Who will continue on the legacy of taking care of the co-op's business, taking care of the members, taking care of staff here with their legal needs, as things arise. I told John Scott that I would work hard and I would do him proud. And he said, I know you will. And, the fact that John recommended me for the position really means the world to me.
Yeah.
And I very much appreciate it. But it's really been good so far. I told my wife the other night I've really enjoyed the work. I've enjoyed the people, and it's a different spirit. And I don't think I'll mess it up too bad. But I told the board when I was interviewing. Basically, I think you'll be happy if you hire me, and if you don't hire me, that's okay.
Yeah.
You might hire me sometime down the road. Well, they wanted to go ahead and hire me, so it worked out great. But like I said, they've been very gracious to me, very kind. They have. I feel like I'm part of the group already,
Great.
Part of the gang. So that's a good feeling. They've bent over backward to make me feel that way, I think. So
they're a good group of people.
Good people, and looking forward to getting to know them better. What's interesting, you see during the meetings and even before and after, the board, they talk, they're friendly, they get along.
Right.
Of course, when you're on a board for many years, you get to learn the spouses' names and the kids and the grandkids and how things are going, and so that it's very important, very important. And when the board gets along, and there's not much extracurricular drama and that type of thing, it makes the job easier.
Mm-hmm.
They can focus on the battles to be fought, and
that's right. Get the work done.
Get the work done, absolutely, and take care of the members. And that's job one, is take care of the members.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to working with you, and I look forward to the years ahead. And thank you again for sitting down and talking to me.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. It's been great.
And thank you for joining us for Wire to Wire with Nolin RECC.